Everyone could please rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we can all just take a moment of silence to keep in our thoughts and prayers the victims of today's attack on the subway in Brooklyn. And if we can all take a moment and say a special prayer in our hearts for a peaceful Holy Week, Holy Weekend for those celebrating Easter and Passover here in the town of Yorktown and here in the state of New York and across the world. Thank you.
Amen.
Now, will you start?
I didn't last week. It's your turn now.
My turn. And again, for those celebrating Ramadan this month, we wish you a blessed holiday. Thank you, Mr. Kopstein.
Sorry about that, Jay.
We'll do introductions. We'll start to my right.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Good evening. Tom Diana, Deputy Supervisor, Councilman.
Matt Slater, Town Supervisor.
Ed Lachman, Councilman.
Sergio Esposito, Councilman.
Luciana Howitt, Councilwoman.
Adam Rodriguez, Town Attorney.
Great. Just a couple of announcements again. Happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Ramadan to everyone who is celebrating all of the holidays of this very holy time of the year. We wish everyone a very, like I said, peaceful celebration here in the town of Yorktown. I just wanted to remind everyone that we'll be having a COVID-19 booster clinic this Thursday over at the Albert A. Cappellini Community Cultural Center. That runs from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. thanks to our friends over at Save More Pharmacy. If you are looking for either your first booster or second booster, if you qualify, you can sign up online. All that information is on the Town of Yorktown's website. I want to remind our 4th and 5th graders about our Arbor Day poster contest. We are bringing that back. If you go down Commerce Street, you'll see some wonderful banners celebrating Arbor Day. And this year, the poster contest is back, and we are looking forward to seeing some of the wonderful artwork of the young folks of our community. And so all that information can be found again on the town website, and all the information as to where to submit it over to our planning department and the deadline as well. Lastly, I want to remind everybody, if you haven't heard of the Yorktown Police Department's new initiative, the First Responders Resident Alert Registry, this great new initiative that the police department has launched for anyone who is a caregiver or loved one, wants to register. It's a voluntary, as it's been said before, a voluntary program for anyone with special needs. And all that information really helps our police department when they're entering a home or responding to an emergency. This way they are able to properly manage the situation. Again, this is a volunteer effort. It's been well received within the community. We've already had several dozen people sign up or register their loved ones. But again, I just want to remind everyone that can be found on the YorktownNY.org website as well as the Yorktown Police Department's website. And we thank the police department for taking the initiative on this great program. Mm-hmm. We have a number of great things to talk about tonight. Councilman, did you have a few things you wanted to say?
Just briefly, yes. I had the privilege this morning of going up to Granite Knolls in the rain to check out our adaptive playground that is being put in. They're coming along. The guys are working in the rain. It looks real good. The thing that I found very troubling and quite frankly disgusting was I looked out across our beautiful turf fields that we spent a lot of money on, that were strewn with all sorts of debris, garbage, bottles. If you look up at the screens, I took some pictures, and this is just representative photos I took. This isn't all that was there because the crews were up there at about 7:40, 7:50 in the morning, and it was like 9:30 or so when I was up there, so they had already picked quite a bit of it up. And I just want to put a reminder out to the parents, the coaches, and the kids. What you bring in, take out. Mm-hmm. Okay? I made a point of counting the number of trash cans that were there. There's no less than 10. None of them had more than 1/4 of stuff, garbage in them. So it wasn't like there was nowhere to put this stuff. They could have carried it right out, and as they walk through the gate, they're right there. And if they were full, there's a dumpster 100 feet away.
Yeah.
This is disturbing. All right, that people think this little of something that we put tons and tons of hours and money into to come up there and just let it litter. We aren't anybody's keepers here, and we want to make sure that this is picked up. I talked to our Parks and Recreations Commission and also the Superintendent of Parks and Recreations, and he assured me that he's going to find out who, if anybody, was playing up there. Of course, schools are closed, so a lot of kids go up there and they may play basketball and so on and so forth. I was also told that the basketball court was an absolute pigsty. And this isn't something of just this week. This is something that happens all the time. They have tons and tons of pictures just like this. And it got to the point where I believe it was the Yorktown Athletic Club had to say, no, what is it called? Sunflower seeds, no gum, and no bottles, because kids were just leaving them. And you know something? The coaches should back that up and police the area before they leave, or have the kids do it. They're here to play a sport. So if we back up, Diana, to the shirt, I have evidence. That goes back to my my days as being a police officer. All right? This is what I found up there today. Orange County, I think it was soccer club. One of the people up there doing whatever, whether there was a game or not, I didn't know at that point in time. But they left evidence behind. So if they were having a game, they're going to be charged $250 for the amount of garbage that is up there. That's something that the Parks and Recreation Commission has put into everything. They're charged a cleanup fee if necessary, otherwise it's refunded. And now they're going to come to a point where they're going to bump that up. First offense, anybody can make a mistake and leave something behind. Second offense, you get charged. Third offense, you get charged a little bit more, or maybe a lot of bit more. So please, folks, please be mindful of our parks. We work hard to keep them the way they are with the staff that we have, and we want to make them enjoyable for everybody. This was disgusting up here this morning, and I hope I can only say that if you're out at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, take a ride through. You might see it in this condition. I hope that after this,
Let's hope
it doesn't happen. Thank you.
Councilman, I got to say, as someone who grew up here, and I say this to the young athletes in our community, you don't know how lucky you are to have this facility. You really don't. I grew up playing sports here. I and my friends, we wish we had a facility like this here in the town of Yorktown. So please respect it. You don't know how lucky you have it. And I'm not saying it's necessarily our kids or kids from Yorktown necessarily, but when you are up there regardless, please make sure you respect the facility. It is a jewel in this county. It's a jewel in this region. And having grown up here without it, you're just so lucky to have it. So respect it when you go. Bring all your equipment in, bring all your equipment out. And please, to Councilman Diana's point, let's make sure we keep it clean.
This doesn't weigh that much when you got to walk through the gate.
Yep.
It's important that the coaches and we when I was coaching, we always tried to do a good job with it. But you can't be everywhere at once. And I got to tell you, when we were in travel ball, we traveled to other facilities and they looked, the same. I mean, some teams would come in and just there'd be you talk about plastic, there'd be 100 bottles in a dugout in baseball. So, you got to get the message out, and the adults gotta really help out and make sure that their team cleans up after themselves. But it's not always only teams.
Right. Anyone going through, like I said, they don't know how good they have it. At least any of the local kids, and to see pictures like this, if it was in fact some of our local kids, it's very, very discouraging. But just for all those who are using it, keep in mind how lucky we are to have it. So we're going to begin with the Arts and Culture Committee. We are going to welcome. Oh yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have the privilege of being the liaison to the Food
Food Security Task Force.
The Food Security the Food Security Task Force here in Yorktown, and I do want to bring up that on April 26th From 8:30 in the morning till about 4 p.m., they are doing something called the Soul Shop at the First Presbyterian Church, and it is around suicide awareness, and they are honoring an open space to discuss just hardships, because obviously food security is part of, something that can create these kind of deprivations. And also, on top of that, they are supporting the food drive that's going to be taking place by Senator Harkman at the same First Presbyterian Church on May 7th. And there will be a flyer going around, and they're looking for dry goods for donation and anything from like cereal to rice and pasta and whatnot right there. And it's also hosted by their pantry. So they partner with them and the United, if I'm not mistaken, it's the New York United Teachers Federation. So we're trying to make sure that we can reach families that maybe don't know about our pantries, and we're trying to have eyes in certain places, such as those who are not welcome at the senior center because they're under the ages of 65, but maybe struggle with food security or have disabilities so they can't get to the grocery store during storms or whatnot. And also we're partnering with the teachers to just see if there's a need within our community through the classroom. So I just wanted to mention that because I thought that was beautiful, and I had a beautiful night with them last night, and also being that it's Holy Week, happy Holy Week to everyone, I just thought it was something that, we could always open up our hearts and reach out a little bit.
Luciana, what was the date on that again?
So April 26th
April
at
26th.
8:30 to 3, and it's only $30. And even if you go for a little bit, like just meeting active people in the community that are bringing up suicide awareness and getting comfortable with the wording and like supporting their friends and their neighbors and their family members was really impactful. And then as far as Harkman's Food Drive, it is the 12th food drive here in Yorktown at the First Presbyterian Church Food Pantry. It's the food pantry along with the New York State United Teachers, and it's from 12 to 2 in the parking lot at 2880, that's 2880 Compound Road, and you can bring any type of dried goods. One of the things that sticks out for me, mostly because I'm a mom, is the shelf-stable milk. Milk is so expensive. So shelf-stable milk is, you can get the big box of like all this like chocolate milk, strawberry milk, regular milk, and I'm sure that the kids would absolutely love it. So thank you. I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Councilwoman. All right, so we're going to welcome our Arts and Culture Committee, Bruce Apar. We're going to welcome Jennifer Birnbach and Karen Trendell. If you want to grab the podium. You want to do podium?
Bruce is unfamiliar to this type of stuff. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
come.
Great, Karen, it's good to see you on your feet.
Hello, Bruce.
Hey, everybody.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm
Nice
grateful
to
that you're
see
feeling
everybody.
better.
We don't allow Bruce.
Now I know you're all like
That's
really
true.
bigger
Bruce,
than
we don't allow
55.
you on stages anymore, I heard.
Yeah, no more on
Oh, I
stage.
watched
That's
the
a town
video.
policy.
As a boss of mine used to say, you can't fall off the floor. So,
That's very true. Feet are firmly planted.
but maybe I could. Anyhow,
People
good
just
evening.
won't let things go, Bruce. You know what I mean? I mean, that was like, how long ago was that?
I know, but I want to submit
anyway,
it to like
moving
Funny
forward.
Doing videos. We could.
There is a video that's circulating. So,
Yeah, it's still circulating.
Well, I'm glad that you're
Don't let
standing.
it go, Bruce.
thank you. Anyhow, it's good to see everybody.
Same here.
First, I want to give a shout out to Town Clerk Diana Quas because she saved our PowerPoint this afternoon because apparently this system doesn't like Macs or Apple.
Oh, it does not.
Right. So seriously, thank you, Diana.
They have a special version. No, it's a special system that doesn't allow anything from the outside to get in, so they can't get viruses. So
Yeah.
anything with Wi-Fi, they won't
Right.
let it go.
It
So
says no.
she'll be operating
You gotta
our
go to Mr.
PowerPoint.
Privacy and security or something.
And you'll be relieved to know it's not one of those 50-slide PowerPoints. I believe it's, 49? 49, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So all I want to say, I want to start off by saying, besides it really is good to see all of you and to see everybody here, that the concept of an arts and culture committee for Yorktown has been kicking around, I think some of you know, for a long time. I remember, I think is it Bridget Gibbons I'm thinking of, who years ago, I mean decades ago, came up with it. One time we had a meeting in here of Yorktown Organizations United, and she gave me her outline for the Arts and Culture Committee from like 1990s or something.
Wow.
So it's a concept that has been kicking around a long time, but it was actualized in its current form about a year or so ago when the supervisor and councilman, then chamber president Esposito, both had the idea that it would be something the town could use, that the people in the town would really appreciate, that artists in the town would appreciate, and so the committee was formed. And I have to say that, I mean, you'll see in the PowerPoint that we're going to show you that from the beginning, the concept of the committee was validated by other cultural groups in Yorktown that came to us. And that has really accelerated in the last, 3-4 months. I mean, you'll see it in the slides. So, in brief, what is the committee about, or what does it do? So, of course, I had to come up with some gimmick. So, think of it as not me.
There
no.
we go.
Think of it as seriously. Think of it as 5 C's. Okay, creativity, plus community, plus commerce,
I like that.
plus collaboration, equal culture. So that's culture committee at 6 C's. So that's really what we're about. And I also have to say that, and certainly excluding myself, the 5 people, let's say the 4 people besides me, on the committee, we couldn't have, better people on this charter committee, right? So it's the first Arts and Culture Committee. I mean, everybody knows Karen, and she's just a treasure. I mean, she does so many things so well. It's easy to hate her. But she really does. And Jennifer, I have to say, I've been around a long time, in business and working in media companies. I've worked with a lot of creative people. I've never seen anybody more creative than her with her ideas. And not only that, she's one of those creative people that executes, that everybody can execute. So, I just want to say it's a pleasure working with them. And then who couldn't be here today is Allison Montana, who's also great. She's an art instructor, which makes sense that she's on the committee, obviously. And, of course, we all know and love Augie Abekdakola, who's rehearsing to star in Seussical now, right? April 22nd to 24th,
yeah.
by the way. Get your tickets.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'll shut up now. We'll see.
Bruce, I just have a quick question. Do you think that the Arts and Culture Committee could have a position, a hold space for creativity for teens in the community?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, actually, children or youth are a big part of what we've already been doing and want to do. So yeah, absolutely, Luciano. I should say Councilwoman.
No, it's fine. It's just fine.
Right. Like to be
But I'm
formal.
also like a place to have their voice or their expressions held.
Yeah,
and
yes, no, and that already is happening to
a certain extent?
some extent. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you about that more.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Bruce, I was going to challenge you. Maybe children is it. Find one more C, and it could be the 7 C's.
It'll be the children.
And then you're set with your gimmick.
Touche.
And canines.
Right. So we do have, it'll be a quick PowerPoint, only because I won't be narrating it.
Good.
And we have a small request we want to make at the end of it. And so you, Karen, Jennifer, you want to take it away?
Sure.
You need to
on up
step
to the
up to the
podium.
mic.
Who's got control of the?
That'd be me.
First and foremost, the Yorktown Arts and Culture.
Can you just step closer? Just step closer to the mic so this way you don't
pull
get
it
yelled
down
at.
towards
yeah,
you.
there
Yeah.
you
Don't
go.
get yelled at. by-
Perfect.
You'll get yelled at from the guy
Hello.
in the back.
Do you want me to sing too?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. The Yorktown Arts and Culture Committee, obviously, to Bruce's point, is a collaboration of the Yorktown Chamber of Commerce as well as the town of Yorktown, which I think is a great unity for our residents and our children and our commerce, to Bruce's point. So if you could get to the next slide. This particular thing I'd like Jennifer to speak to. These are some logos.
Yeah, so just jumping already on the youth of our town, one of the ideas we had when we first started, in addition to having to make a logo for ourselves, was to invite others to do a version of a logo for us, thinking about the olden days of MTV and Nickelodeon, current, Google, right? So we started off with the BOCES animation class, partly because my son's in there and I had access to the teacher, and we gave them an assignment to we told them what the culture was, what our mission was, and we invited all the students to come up with logos. Some of them are still and some of them are animated, and I think you'll see those moving forward, but this is just one of the students'
Beautiful.
versions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job.
You can go to the next slide. I don't remember what the order is. Oh, okay.
So right now, this is the chamber of the committee. As it stands, there's 5 of us.
Up to the up
gotta
to the
move
mic.
up to the mic.
See?
All
Yep.
He yelled, see?
Yep.
I'm sorry, everybody.
He's very
particular
picky.
about
I
this,
know.
the,
I apologize. I usually don't need a mic.
Amen, girl.
Right? So there's 5 of us right now, and as we get to the end of the presentation, you'll see what we're asking and why. But basically right now it's made up of 5 people that Bruce actually outlined earlier, so I won't waste any of your time in explaining who they are, but everybody has played a critical and key role in moving this forward. Our mission in all honesty, is the collaboration, integration, and support of cultural groups, ideas, and events throughout the area, giving the arts a space and a place to perform, share, and grow. Because I think right now, there's so much talent out there, and to be able to provide them with an opportunity and a venue at any form that we can provide will give them the outlet that they need, and we'll be able to see a lot of people step forward, from those that are older to those that are much younger. To your point, we want the children involved, we want residents involved. It's not just about businesses, it's about the entire community.
Is part of your vision similar to what the Art Around Town is going on with the Yorktown Small Business?
We're working with the art.
Yeah, that's what Leslie had told me. She's working with you guys.
Absolutely.
I adore her. I
So
think
there's
she's got such great vision.
Yeah, the next event that's slotted is at House of Hair, which we recommended, Jackie Arlia.
Yeah, it's April 30th.
April 30th, and she's going to have music and, you know,
And
they're
she
actually-
does overlaid woodwork, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's overlaid woodwork, and Jackie has worked with the art with the group to have them put up the artwork at least 2 weeks prior, so this way more people can get exposure to it, and then have it afterwards.
Jackie's awesome.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
We should mention that because
Yes.
it's really germane that speaking about Art About Town, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Was it Trailside Cafe?
Yeah.
I mean, I was like blown away when I heard this in our last meeting. They had 80 people. And I think anybody who's ever been involved in putting an event together, to get 8 people together.
Yeah, it's a big
is not-
thing.
They had 80 people. Leslie said she sold a ton of art, right?
She did.
So, I mean, they're off and running.
I got her first signature.
Okay. You must know somebody. So,
Her.
so they are, the next one is at the Gramercy.
Yes.
After that.
After
yeah.
Jackie's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next one might be at my office, but we'll see. I do love the idea that you were working with her. I feel like she has an incredible gift to see what us businesswomen can't see, like in truth. Like she just has this way of making the space come to life, and I value that.
I guess we'll go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So the Arts and Culture Committee efforts to date, obviously, we've been talking about all that we've been working with. This is just a small snippet of where we're moving. Obviously, social media presence, we've been pushing forward. Collaboration of the town and chamber, which is outstanding. We have public meetings once a month. Once a month, and committee meetings. We were meeting actually almost
Every week,
weekly,
yeah.
right? And then we actually, I think, converted to bi-weekly. And everybody's really fluid as far as their schedule, so it's been really good. We really have a good respect for everybody's time. We have the spring market and car show coming up on May 22nd, and the street festival October 9th. Those are both chamber events, but we are collaborating with the Arts and Culture Committee. Obviously, we're on it. And so we want to make sure that we're bringing forward the art within those venues. BOCES Student Project, I would love Jennifer to speak more about that. This is a huge initiative. The Yorktown Stage Project, the Projector Project, which we've been working very closely with Matt on. Also a very needed, it's a necessity. So to be able to find those funds and be able to bring that to life would be outstanding. And supporting and collaborating with emerging Yorktown cultural organizations, which you'll see throughout the rest of the presentation. They just keep coming in, and they're loving the collaboration. They're loving just being able to come to these meetings and feel like it's not a division of who's got the biggest voice. It's really just a matter of how are we going to make things happen, how are we going to take it off the ground, and how are we going to help each other make it, bring it to life. So I think that's been an outstanding part of this whole entire effort.
Karen,
Another shout out to Robin Steinberg, because she's been working great with us. And last week, I don't know if you know, we have a Facebook page, Yorktown Arts and Culture. Go and like it. And last week, Robin every day was posting an event, a cultural event going on in Yorktown. And so what we need to do is take, and again, you'll see this at the end of the presentation. We want to, be able to go to the next level and have the posts on our Facebook page, viral, have them go viral. And so, so you'll see how we.
Yeah. If I could also throw in one thing you might want to, if any of you have a contact at the Grange, they're doing an arts and craft fair coming up. So, it might.
Nicole, isn't it? Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole.
Yeah. So there may be an opportunity there to blend a little bit too.
So these are just a sampling of some of the groups that we're working with. Obviously, Yorktown Stage, Art Around Town, Heritage Preservation Commission, Yorktown Small Business Association, which the spin-off of that is art. They actually brought forward the Art Around Town. PNW BOCES, Theater
Step,
Works.
step up to the mic.
Closer to the mic.
I'm so sorry.
It's
Gosh.
gonna-
My band always tells me to step away from the mic, so. And then obviously Cap Space, just a handful of people that we're tapping into.
Great.
And supporting.
No, and by the way, when we talk about, that there are people in Yorktown, very creative, artistic people, the woman who directed Mr. Soul it's been shown on HBO, she lives in Yorktown.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
very cool.
It's actually June 3rd that the Kappa Space plans to have, I believe it's an outdoor screening, and then she'll be there to do a Q&A, and they're working with Jim John Iorio at Funtime Amusement.
Perfect.
What was the name again? That lives in Yorktown. I
Her
missed
name
it.
is Melissa Hazlip.
Mrs. Hayes.
Melissa, yeah, she's a director. She's had stuff on HBO, so very accomplished. Yeah.
Cool. That's great.
Next couple of slides are really just a highlight.
Bless you.
So sorry. Of some of the events that have taken place between this year and last year.
Name, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Bill Winicki.
Bruce actually was
Well,
at
I
this.
went
Yep.
to this on Saturday. The Presbyterian Church was packed. So I don't know how many people fit in the church.
Yeah.
But was it 100, 150?
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was packed. It was really good to see. That. So I mean, what that says, and as well as Trailside Cafe, people are hungry for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
People in Yorktown.
It's exactly the vision we had when we wanted to
Yeah,
put
I
something
know,
like
right.
this together, and
Right.
and we picked the right people.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely
Yeah.
picked the right people.
This is and seeing that up there. This is something that our kids need to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They need to realize how much effect the revolution had and what took place right here.
Right here. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right, Tom. And by the way, they planned 2 more of those this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's great.
excellent.
Yeah.
And there's a huge event. The lady the one woman that came out, she was
Lynn Briggs.
Lynn Briggs. She was
Oh, yeah.
talking about like.
Oh yeah, well,
Come
whole
to the mic.
Westchester- Yeah, the whole Westchester.
I just can't get it right tonight.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I'll
Perfect.
just,
Don't let her back up.
so sorry. Lynn
Yeah,
Briggs.
Right, the country's, and let's see if I could say this without tripping, semi-sesquicentennial.
Yeah.
Right.
Right,
RW 250.
Right,
Yeah.
Right. So Lynn is part of the Westchester 250. I
Yep.
mean, she's very involved
Westchester
with all that
250,
stuff.
and she's going to be bringing a lot of that history and knowledge to the Yorktown, which I think is going to be extraordinary especially for our kids. This is Art Around Town. They were in the mall last
Yeah,
weekend,
yeah,
right?
on Saturday.
On
They were-
Saturday,
yeah.
so getting the word out, and like Bruce said, they're moving milestones, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Next slide up. This was 2021. We were at the October Festival and the Art and Culture Committee banner and some
Yeah, we
photo
booked
ops.
booked the music. And,
Yeah, book the music. We look forward to doing that again this year. Lions Summer Concert Series, I believe we did.
that
Yeah,
was the
we-
first thing,
Yeah, that was our first our toe dipping into this, and we just wanted to start with like low hanging fruit. Putting ourselves into things that already existed
Yeah.
that were treasured in Yorktown, and in this case, we just kind of put up murals where people can kind of celebrate the artists that were being covered by bands. So this was probably the Neil Diamond concert, I'm guessing.
Yep. This year, the final concert has a tribute to the military as well. It starts an hour early, and Alyssa Martin is doing like I can't say USO, but a 1940s style
Wow.
act. Yes. So yes. So if you want to plan for that, I'm sure the Lions would be
Police night out.
more than happy to have you back again.
Hey, Ed, being involved with the Lions, maybe that'd be something that you could throw in on one of the concerts, maybe during the intermission, where we could get maybe 1 or 2 of our youth bands that would want to go up there and play through the intermission or something.
Yeah. The only problem, the intermission's only 30 minutes, and for setup and all, it might be a problem unless it was someone with just an acoustic.
You're always a half-empty kind of guy.
I know we thought about it. As you remember, we did 7 concerts in one day with a lot of youth.
Yeah, I
groups.
know that.
How
was
about,
interesting.
How about something like a little mini play or something like a 10 or 15 minute, where you don't have to move anything. They just get a couple of people up there and
Little reenactment.
If you have anything you want to collaborate with, please let me know.
that'd be cool. That'd be a great
I just
intermission.
shamed him into it.
No, but we could try, and we'll give it to the Lions Committee.
We'll
There's a
talk
whole
about it
committee.
in our next monthly public meeting.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we should go with
When are your monthly meetings, just for the crowd, if anyone's interested?
The last Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. And you can register through the townofyorktown.org. .org?
It's Zoom.
Yep, Zoom meeting. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This was just.
we repeat,
yeah.
Last what, man?
I'd like to
Last Tuesday.
find the idiot who put up Yorktown Policy Department, Bruce. Okay.
Bruce.
It's a typo.
It's a typo.
You should have left that alone. Nobody noticed it.
Can't help myself. No, so after the success of what happened at the Lions Club with the message board, we brought it to Cops Night Out.
You gotta speak it in the mic, yeah. It's not for us. It's for.
I know
TV
it's
land.
for the television audience.
Yeah.
We brought it to Cops Night Out, and it got off to a slow start, and then all of a sudden, people realized it was there, and they saw other people signing it, and that's my favorite photo. It's such a great photo.
It is a good photo.
Yeah. No, that was me. Yes, that was me.
It's always Bruce. So just as I mentioned before, BOCES was our first step into reaching out to different youth. When I first joined the committee, one of my dreams was just, in seeing what my kids had access to growing up, and what they were drawn to. It wasn't just like, art in traditional art, but it was like, creating skateboards from scratch and painting them, or, different kinds of concerts and stuff. So we just wanted to really start tapping into that. And like I said, I had access to my son's teachers. That's where we started with the Logo Explorer. You can go to the next slide. So you can kind of flip through them. These are just some of the logos that were, some of these kids have never done this before. So, this is like really their very first time working on this kind of stuff. Yeah, so there was a mix of juniors and seniors, and you can tell those that have been doing this a little longer. You can keep flipping. I don't remember where it ends. Oh, there's the last one. Yes. Yeah, and down the road, one of the things that we also thought about with BOCES in particular is that the kids come. Most of them are Yorktown, but they're from other towns as well. And when we invite them to be a part of the Yorktown Culture and Arts and Committee, rather. And also connect them with local businesses, maybe, if they wanted, to do stuff like that. That will bring more people into the town to see, their logos being a part of restaurants or whatever happens from there. Competitive landscape. So, I as a thrill seeker myself, and as a mother, I was always looking for things to do, and so I'm following a lot of other towns and seeing what they do, and we put together. Just some top line things that we thought were really interesting for you to be aware of. I don't know if you want to talk from a Chamber of Commerce point of view.
Let me get over to the mic before I get yelled at. So obviously, these towns have sort of solidified a great way to bring art and culture to their communities. There's a lot of restaurants and bars and locations that are bringing music in, and we're seeing an expansion of that. And honestly, there is not that much space for music out there, so obviously doing some more outside stuff and those types of community events are important in providing an opportunity for the arts. But Yorktown, when we look at Peekskill, Croton-on-Hudson, Bedford, Katona, listen, Yorktown is outstanding, and what we need to do is we need to get competitive, and we need to be bringing the same level of experience, talent, and opportunity to our community. Mm-hmm. And so Yorktown must remain competitive in these areas and to bring the best to our residents, as I stated. There are some links that Jennifer and Bruce put together on a slide, and we'll be more than happy to share that. But these are some of the events that go on across these locations, and I know we can blow it out of the water. Mm-hmm. If we have the right group of people, we have the support of the town, and obviously our business community is looking to support us as well. So I think that's super important.
Yeah, of course.
So if we go to the next slide, our next steps. So here's where the ask is. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to ask for any money. Growth. Should I ask for money?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Shit. All right. Sorry. I'll ask for that after. So growth is important. And for continued growth and trajectory of these efforts, we believe adding 2 more committee members will help support the identified needs of the group. And those 2 identified needs are social media and project management. We are facilitating conversations, meetings, and opportunities across multiple organizations. We're finding ourselves to be sort of the conduit for these groups to be able to kind of provide them the trajectory that we need. So these are 2 positions that we feel are necessary, that will complement those that are already on the team, although Jennifer needs to speak a little bit about the next situation.
So when I joined the committee a year ago, I had a lot more time, and thankfully my little business has grown a lot, and I don't think that I'm able to give as much time to the committee as I want to. I'm not leaving forever. I'm still a volunteer, but being a part of the committee and having the role that I've had, I just don't feel like I can put as many hours into it as possible. So I told the group just a couple days ago that I need to step back at the end of June. But I have every curl in my head's an idea. That's my tagline. It's my promise. I know. I got a guy. I always got a guy. So, every time.
Curly hair thing.
Yes, exactly. And I plan to still, attend the public meeting. If they want me to come to the weekly meeting every now and then, I will. I really love this committee. I am so thrilled to be a part of the launch of it. And actually, like I said, I want to contribute however I can, but I don't feel like I can give as much to the committee as another person who's going to come in with more wild, crazy ideas and have more hands right now.
So let's try to grow your business a little more. What business is it?
Oh, my business?
Yeah, yours.
It's Jennifer with a G. I am a marketing writer and branding consultant. I do marketing and stuff.
Don't be modest. Tell them for who.
Well, I mean, I was in TV for 30 years, and I wanted to help small businesses in my own community. That's what my goal was. So I am working with a lot of solopreneurs and small business owners, but then I kind of got wooed back into doing things for Viacom and other, things. So they're the ones sending my daughter to college, and then the other ones are just, I get to go to Gramercy for dinner.
Yeah, right.
No big
Things like
deal.
that. So
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But again, the idea of what this committee is and the fact that you guys invited me to be a part of it, and that there's I've never seen something like this. There's no red tape. It's like the sky's the limit. It's just, other than budget, which is not your fault. But it's just it's a pleasure to be a part of, and anyone who ends up joining it is going to be very lucky to be a part of it. And I will still,
So is there an area of expertise that because I see you're looking for specific people for the next two. Is there an area of expertise that as we start interviewing people that we should be looking for that would replace your
yeah,
functions?
two of the things I did bring some project management and social media stuff to the group, but my thing is I think more diversity that we can add to the committee is always great. That everything, age, ethnicity, religion, anything that we can bring more points of view, because we all have our networks of people that we reach out to, but to really make these events and things feel more robust. I think even just if there's I don't know, maybe there's a college or a high school student, maybe there's someone again, like maybe there's someone who's 100 that wants to be a part of this.
So basically what you do would be covered with these two people, and then someone else just to add a little.
And bringing different perspectives widens the pool of,
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I think, Bruce and Augie, every one of us is multifaceted, but, Bruce and Augie are very in the theater, Karen with music, Allison with art. And I think for me, just being, thinking of media and marketing and digital media as like kind of a form of art, I think that's nice. We have touched those things, but there's so much more to arts and culture.
Yeah.
Even when we were forming the committee, we even talked about how can we make STEM or STEAM, how does science and art come together? So I just think there's the more people with different backgrounds, whatever that means, is going to add a lot to this committee, and I think it's going to be very exciting and give a lot of opportunities to people of all ages. So
That goes to one of your C's, right? Collaboration.
yeah,
that's right, collaboration,
sticking to those two.
big one.
I love
Yep.
those C's. So I think that right now you have 5. So we would need to, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, we would need to amend the law to put 2 more on. I think statutorily it's 5.
My recollection was that it was 7.
It's 5, I believe.
Yeah, it was 5. It was 3.
We're 5. We want to add.
You want to add 2
7.
more. You want to go to 7.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then on top of that, you replace me with
And then we have to
somebody.
replace with somebody else. So I think we would need to amend the law so that we can go to
It's
7.
a resolution.
I'm sorry?
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution?
So, you can amend it tonight, but my recollection is that the board appointed some and the
Yes.
That is
It's 3 and 2
Three is
between the
correct.
board and the chamber, so we can do 4 and
One and
so
one.
we can do 4 and 3.
So those are the 2 points.
Right.
then.
So we can do 4 and 3. 4 from the town, 3 from the chamber.
Sounds good.
Keeps it in the same ratio as
Yeah.
as previously, right?
Yeah, that's good.
That works for you guys.
What's that?
I said, now can we ask for money?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to make the motion tonight to expand the Arts and Culture Committee to 7 members, 4 being appointed by the town board, 3 by the Chamber of Commerce.
Let's do it.
Second it.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I just want to say that I really, this is, and Sergio, Councilman Esposito, this is exactly what we were talking about when we,
Exactly.
when we thought of this. And this is just a great, going back to one of your C's, collaboration between the town and the Chamber of Commerce and our art. And we recognize the untapped potential of the arts and culture here in the town of Yorktown and the untapped demand that was here. And so I think we're seeing it with everything that you're doing.
And the potential impact on the business community.
Of course.
I mean, it's just.
Of course. So it's really exciting. You're doing a terrific job. Thank you for your service. I'm not going to let you go too far.
I won't.
I was gonna say we were way cooler.
Yeah.
No,
We're
no.
not-
I mean, we
It's
would.
more like a symbolic weight off my shoulders. I will still be. I will
Yeah.
still help out. I wouldn't.
We-
I really enjoy it. I just.
We were kind of doing all right until that announcement. You know
I'm
what I mean?
sorry. Well, you know where I live. So.
Yeah. Well,
you're an asset,
So
and you,
surprised her talents are in demand. But
oh, yeah, I can understand it. Yeah.
she's great.
Which is great. But you guys are doing a terrific job. I think you're absolutely executing the mission that we had envisioned. I know she's not here, but the former Councilwoman Alice Roker was a huge proponent of this committee. I'm sure that she would be very proud of what you've already accomplished and what you're putting yourselves in a position to accomplish. And I think the entire community really appreciates everything you've done. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's amazing to see.
Support.
It's amazing to see the seed that was planted just blossom. You know, so.
That must be beautiful.
I just got an
Why don't
email
you-
today that you might want to.
Oh, sure.
Why don't you have a sidebar conversation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get the
All right.
marshmallow twist and meet me in the hallway.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much.
Great
Appreciate
job.
it.
Great job,
Great
guys.
job, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, next we're going to go to the Tree Conservation Advisory Commission. We'll welcome Lawrence Klein, Keith Shepard, and Tom Schmidt. And among the things that we're going to discuss is the town-wide forest management plan.
All right.
John Tegeter, do you want to come to the front in case there's any questions that we might have for you?
I will jump right up there to the question.
Okay. I'm just putting you on notice.
What's going on, Larry?
Gentlemen,
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm Lawrence Klein, Larry Klein.
Hey, Larry.
I'm Tom Schmidt.
Tom, how are you?
What else we got? Come on up. Come on up. Don't be shy.
And we got Keith. All right.
Okay.
what
Before
do
we
we got?
start our meeting or our discussion, I just want to hand a quick handout for future discussions.
Great.
These are some, the tree law is, or tree ordinance is, only 2 years plus. It has a tree bank clause, tree fund bank. It's in its infancy. It's expected to grow. We're putting forth to the town
Thank you.
some proposed projects in the future.
Yep.
When we get the money.
Yep.
These are for future discussions.
Yeah, agreed. And you and I have had conversations, in my office about this, and I think they're great. But like we said, when that money comes,
That's right.
Yeah, let's not spend what we don't have yet.
Right. But I've also given you a spreadsheet of anticipated funds that come in.
correct.
That we know of right now.
I'm all about putting it in the universe, Larry.
Susie?
I'm all about putting it in the universe and trying to receive it.
Okay. Discussion tonight is a town-wide forest management plan.
Yes, sir.
That's mandated by the tree ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, the three of us are not qualified to put together a RFP for that. While Keith is a registered arborist, that's not his
Yep.
expertise.
Yep. We can help you with that.
He's great for going up in trees and cutting them down. Okay.
With the permit, right?
With a permit.
Just wanted to make sure.
Don't get Keith in trouble.
You can be honest, Keith.
You want the mortuary guy, you call someone.
Yeah.
I'm the cop.
All right. Dr. Keith.
We understand that the town has some environmental consultants.
Yep.
I understand that, while Con Ed is paying for the one up at Foothill, I believe that there's 2 consultants involved with that project.
I think it's just Barton and LaJudas. Just one.
Just one.
Yeah, B&L.
Okay.
Barton and LaJudas has been the lead on that.
We would suggest that those, consultants are better equipped.
Okay.
And better knowledge of what will go into a forest management plan. The town has 2 right now, Turkey Mountain, which was prepared in 2011, and Sylvan Glen forest management plan was prepared in 2013. And one is 67 pages and one's like 35, 40 pages.
Can you explain to the folks who are listening what exactly, in the case they don't know, a forest management plan is?
Keith?
Yeah, just go to the podium for me, Keith.
A forest management plan, for example, Turkey Mountain. So local forester Ted Kozlowski was hired.
Yep.
He's a big shot with the Arboretum. So what they did was they go into that park. He divided it into sections, because you have trails, you have lowland, you have mid, you have the top of the mountain. And what he does is you identify what species of trees are in each of those zones. Specifically, certain trees will live on the top of a mountain. Certain trees survive on the bottom of a mountain.
Correct.
So he designated the areas, and then at the end of his forest management plan that he wrote for us, there's a year-by-year mitigation plan, maintenance plan. So if I have copies of it, I could give you.
Okay.
But we were supposed to start in 2012.
Right.
This is 2022, and because who's going to do it? I'll give you a copy just so that you have it.
That's the age-old question. Who's going to do it?
Well,
that
that's the
applies
thing.
everywhere and in everything.
Well, this is the idea of why we're meeting today, is so that you become aware of the fact that there's already is management plans that have already been done, but there's
For
no
2
money,
areas.
There's no money to do it.
Which is what the part of the tree fund was going to be for, right?
So this is the idea, and in the ordinance, money that goes into this tree bank fund is supposed to get spent in certain ways.
Correct.
So
This being one.
This would be.
This would be one of the
Larry
ways.
provided you with a list of other things that, that are part of that idea.
Yeah. Very good. Questions from the board?
No, I understand it completely.
So I think that what we can do is we can have, he just stepped out, but we can have our director of planning reach out to both of our environmental consultants. John? Do you think we can reach out to both of our environmental consultants to see if they can draft some proposals on this?
Draft RFP?
Well, I think they can probably just we can just request a proposal as part of our professional services
Just
agreement.
a townwide forest management plan.
Yeah, that's probably the recommendation that I would have is
Yeah.
to go directly to them and ask them to come up with
Exactly.
proposals.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we could all sit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll review it and see where we go from there. But I think that's probably the best way to start.
Just get that ball moving.
So we'll ask both of them to submit a proposal for us through our professional
That's
services
what
agreement that
we're
we already have.
suggesting.
Great, no problem. So our planning department will spearhead that effort, and we'll get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Can you, Keith? Can you do me a favor when you have a second when you jump back down to the podium, or maybe Larry might be able to. Thank you. Thanks.
Snatch him.
Yeah. Can you explain? So we have 2 of these already done for Sylvan and for Turkey.
Correct.
But now we're talking town-wide.
And that's a question that I don't have an answer to. I don't know if you can do one town-wide or if you have to do it per parcel.
Okay.
Say Bald Mountain Preserve, Kitchewan Preserve, because that's not my expertise.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
that's gotta be from the concept.
I can't answer that question.
Okay.
That's why I suggested
We go to our
consultants,
expert consultants.
because they can tell you that we can do one for the town.
Yep.
And you don't have to do parcels.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask that clarifying question. Any other questions from the town board?
No.
All right,
Thank you for bringing it back to life.
Mr. Chater, you're going to reach out and you'll spearhead the initial effort for us. Very good. And we'll come back to you guys with the proposals from both our environmental consultants. Yes, sir.
Just one quick request. Can you do you have these things in like PDF form? The forest management plans for.
They're on the town website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the ones from Sylvan and Turkey.
And Turkey Mountain.
Really? I've
Yeah.
never seen them. Okay, I'll go grab it.
You gotta search for them.
Yeah, you do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right,
I'm
I'll go
sure-
search it for 'em.
They're not like the jelly beans. They don't just show up.
I'm sure the planning department has those as well that they can share with us, right, John? Yeah. Thank you.
Just one other thing. While you're searching online, you go into the view, in the home page. In 2010, there was a biodiversity study done for the whole town.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 40-page document.
Yep.
That's inside. And what we're hoping for is that now that we have these ordinances and now that we have these big projects, that could actually be a windfall. We don't want to see things happen and then just be put on a shelf.
Right.
Like, oh, that's a great idea.
And then nothing happens to it. Yep.
So, and a lot of it always has to do with how to spend the money.
Right.
We all have great ideas, even for our own homes, like, what we can do with our house. But
Right.
So this is our big home. The town is our home. So
Exactly.
we'll try to do the right thing.
Yep.
And I can assure you we're trying to keep things off the shelf. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Not sure how to do it yet, but we are definitely trying to keep
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank
Appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming
See you
out
guys.
tonight.
Take care, gentlemen.
Thanks for bringing this forward. Okay, next we have a special use permit proposal. We'll have John Tegeter to the podium, and Mr. Rodriguez, do you want to head to the podium or take it from your seat?
So
This for everyone at home listening. So we had this is a follow up to a work session item that we had a couple weeks back about allowing some of our local farms to do larger events. We know that farms have become, especially in the midst and wake of COVID, popular wedding destinations and wedding venues. And so we feel, and the board had a presentation brought to us about the possibility of one of our local farms engaging in this sort of and expanding in this realm and expanding their business in this realm. And we had tasked our town attorney and our director of planning to try to craft some legislation or the proper permitting so that all of our farms can benefit from this.
Yeah, they can all have part in the celebration. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Tegeter, if you want to update us as to where we are.
yeah, so we drafted a local law. We circulated it to the board.
I was fine with it.
It's, relatively short and simple. Ultimately, it provides a separate special use permit to be reviewed and authorized by the zoning board that would authorize these special events to be conducted on parcels that already have a special use permit for farm operations. The special use would have to comport with all the other requirements of special use permits. Generally, you have to file a map with your application showing what you're going to be doing. The law provides for the zoning board to be able to ask for operational information, hours of operation, days of operation, et cetera, whatever they find necessary, The permit would be valid for 3 years. That's basically.
They would have to get some kind of alcohol permit or whatever if they're serving that,
Well,
all of that stuff.
They'd have to all present that to them.
The law provides expressly that they have to comply with any other applicable laws, which is always implicit anyway.
There you
But
go.
I guess my only question would be are you guys comfortable with the 3 years? I'm comfortable with it, but
I think
it's silly to take out a permit for 1 year.
No, I think my feeling was it should have been a multi-year permit.
Yeah, me too.
And if correct me if I'm wrong, but is the special use permit that the zoning board already issues, is that a 3-year or is that longer?
I think it
runs with the land.
Yeah,
It runs with the land.
That's the farm.
So there's no sunset on that.
Not unless they
Unless
implement.
it stops
Not unless
farming.
they apply for it.
Not unless the
Okay.
the board says
It's
we're gonna
sunsetting.
give you for
Right,
3
I got
years
you.
and
So
come
that
back in 3 years,
I
see how
think
you
the
do.
3 years makes a lot of sense, especially if you're
At least.
because you're a business owner.
Yeah,
You're going
you
to make
need a
that
minute.
investment
You
for
need a minute to,
for
kick it
3
off.
years and figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know if 3 or even 5. I'm a little curious about, and I apologize because I didn't see it come through, the wording on the mapping of it, because from what I understand, they're looking at doing outdoor venue type things. So the mapping would be a little different unless you have like the general area. This is where the tent would be. This is where the food service should be set up. Because
What? Yeah, I mean, for any special permit, you have to submit basically a map laying
Site
out
plan, basically,
what-
right?
yeah,
It would all be
essentially.
depending on the event.
But I don't think it has to be.
Well, in the important part here is where you're going to park people.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
How they get in, how can they park?
So you're looking
is
for-
it all safe? Yeah. So
Okay.
if you have a tent in the field, not too much worry about where the tent is. It should follow the farm special permit, which has some setback requirements.
It
you know,
does.
100 feet, so which is good.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you
I
have
know.
to worry about the parking.
I know Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco. When you're getting a liquor an off-premise liquor license or a day of liquor license, they actually want it mapped out exactly where it'll be,
Yeah.
and that's that. So that's I think a higher standard per se than what the site plan. Like, here's where our tent, here's our parking, that's my only concern, to make sure we're not looking for that same level, because that'll change every event.
Higher standard?
Yeah, that it'll change every event because they may or may not have liquor.
No, we don't need that
No, I think you're
standard
right,
of
that-
detail.
All right.
It does.
That level of detail. I should say.
Thank you.
Sorry. It does back up with our basic law on
Yeah.
permitted special use, and then it piggybacks it with the farmland already special use, because it's got to honor the property, because we're not changing,
Right.
you know.
No, I understand.
So
that.
I'm just saying, like, it says it on there.
And
But
the
when
way
you, but when you apply for this, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, just it also requires the parking plan to be submitted, right?
yeah.
So
And when you apply for the special use permit, I'm all for the 3-year. Let it sunset. Let's see how it works out, and maybe we can come back and
You can
make
always
it longer.
You can always expand. it to 5.
But when you're doing that, you're going to lay out where the tent's going to be. It's not like today you're going to put the tent in the east corner, and then tomorrow you're going to move it. Right?
Right.
This is it. Right?
This
It's
is
I
going to
would
be.
think that's.
This is support what Ed's saying. Like, it also has, like, based on your needs, if it's alcohol and not alcohol, what's the capacity? What's permitted? How many
Right.
people? How many cars? So, yeah, you're right, Ed. Like, it has all of that stuff.
And also, a lot of times, these oops,
No, there's nothing permitting wise that you would need if alcohol is involved because it's private property.
Private property,
Right.
we wouldn't issue anything.
Yep. I just want to make sure we're clear.
and oftentimes, these barn weddings, per se, are a craze. And
Craze or crazy?
both.
Yeah, I
You
know
know
you
how,
in weddings.
You know how weddings are with you. Anyway,
I'm going to have her kind of like pig roast that she's having. What's going
but
on here?
are a craze now where they actually just rent out the venue and you bring in
Everything.
everything. So if you're going to have alcohol, it's on you. You have your bartenders, you have your servers, you have your cleanup people. And probably the only other thing here would be sanitary situations where there would have to be something set up
Porta
for that.
potties.
Right. Whether it's
That's going to be part of site plan, right? I mean,
That should be shown on the package,
Right.
and even on the site plan,
Right.
where they're going to put those things and how they're going to accomplish it. Really,
Yeah.
If it's the temporary things, then you should show them where they're going to be.
Yeah.
So the way the thing operates should be planned with some forethought and some skill.
yeah, we're not just
would
going to
think.
let some
Right,
fly by night operation, come in.
Yeah,
So
but
I think it makes a
once
lot
they
of
have to
sense.
submit a site
But,
plan,
that's the name
we'll,
of my
we'll have
company, Fly by
there'll
Night.
be
It would be.
the authority to correct anything that the planning board sees that's
Well,
incorrect.
yeah, the zoning.
Yeah.
board.
well, the zoning. Yeah.
Zoning board. I'm sorry.
And they may on occasion choose to refer it to the planning board for some advice on the operation of
Location and stuff like that.
the
Yeah.
parking lot and things like that.
And I did send it to Gordon Fine.
And what did he say?
Well, he hasn't said anything yet. but,
Okay, you already referred it to him.
I mean, look, if it's referred out, he'll get it anyway. But I
Yeah,
gave it
right.
I gave him a heads up, so he can look at it, and I'll we'll
I think it makes sense for us to refer it out at this point. I mean, it's in local law format.
Yeah.
Public hearing.
Yeah,
May
I think
3rd, I think.
May 3rd. All right, so I'll make
Do
a
it.
I'll make a motion to refer out to all necessary agencies and set the public hearing for May 3rd.
Second.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Great. May 3rd it is. Thank you very
Perfect.
Thanks, JT.
much. Thank you, JT. Don't go too far. Next up, we're going to invite Joe
don't.
Rena. And I know, Joe, you've got a few guys with you tonight. This is in regards to 3222 Gomer Street. Gentlemen, come up to the front, please. Sorry that your name's not on the agenda.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, you got a presentation for us tonight?
A short one. Get it on here.
I thought we got like another podium where it had like a little shelf.
Well,
Did we get that? Where's John Tegeter? John, did we pull that? Did we get that podium? Yeah, I called it the Joe Rena podium when I found it.
Yeah, I always ask for a little table.
No, I got it. I got it for you. It had like the
That's kind of a
podium, and then
little
underneath
table.
it, there was like, I even measured it out with my own laptop. You put a little laptop down there, and you're like,
Yeah, because I'm forever like
I know.
chasing after.
All right,
this.
we got to figure out, John, if we ever pick that thing up.
You have a mouse that runs, Joe?
Runs.
It runs away from
I
you?
have to grab it by the tail. All right, just 1 second. Let me just get this open.
My phone's still not ready.
Hmm?
My phone's still not ready. Jen, is my phone ready? 99%. 99%. It's been there since 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Amazing.
You need
Never
another jelly bean.
get a new phone.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Joe, I love that you have 2 eyes in your knee.
Yes, I do.
Love that.
All right, Mr. Rena,
Okay,
show's
good.
yours.
Joseph Rena, the principal site design consultants, representing MJM Land Development Corp., who are the owners of 12.4 acres, otherwise known as the Karagosian property or farm on Gomer Street.
What's it called? The what?
Karagosian
Yeah, it
Farm,
was
South of Gomer Street.
Formerly the Karagosian property. And I have the
Old
number
egg
wrong.
farm,
It's
right?
3232, not 3222.
Oh, 3232?
Yes, 3232.
3232.
Right,
Sorry
so
about
it's 12.4 acres. It's zoned, half-acre zone. So here's the frontage on Gomer Street is right here. The property goes all the way back here to Cordial in the back is the back end of the property. It's adjacent to Ponderosa Estates, which is this development here, which was approved as a flexibility cluster. So it's still zoned. Although it's a similar density, or we're trying to mimic the density on the back part of this property, that's actually still zoned R120. To the further east, west, and to the south, there's a small cul-de-sac with some homes on it there.
It's Kip Court, right?
Yeah. Kip, yep. And there's a green area here, which is a town wetland that runs through the site. And there's another small wetland over on the southeast corner of the site. So the proposal that my clients would like to make is to get the property rezoned to RSP2.
RSP2.
Right, which is a zone for, it's multifamily zone, and it's zoned for, let me just bring that up. I'm sorry, wrong thing.
Joe needs glasses.
So it's owned RSP2 Senior Citizen District, right? And we meet all the criteria for that if the board was so inclined to go in that direction. And the makeup of the development is the front portion of the site we're doing a single-family residential with an access point off of Gomer.
There's already an access point there, right?
Yep.
Right
There's
now.
an access point there now, currently. The lot sizes, we maintained at least 15,000 square feet on the lot sizes there, so it's not quite 20, but it would be permitted under the RSP2 since it's a flexibility in a sense as far as the standards go, right? But it would require subdivision to create these lots. And those would be single family, so we've got 9 there. We cross into the back part of the property, and we're showing clustered townhouse-style units, 2-story townhouse-style units with garages under. And we're showing 44 units there. That's the density that we're proposing at this point. We're making a connection point out to the south, as well as a connection point out to the northeast or to.
And you already have an easement for that road to Cordial. Was there an issue?
Well,
was there an
we
issue
ha-
in the past that
so
was
here's
raised?
the thing. There's only 40 feet of frontage on Cordial, which is right here. But if this is a private road or a private driveway, we don't have to worry about the 50 feet requirement.
So this would be a private road.
It would be a private road here. The only portion that would be a public road would be the extension off of London at this.
And there's already
There's already an existing right-of-way there that was created as part of
Ponderosa.
Right, Ponderosa and the project to the
Yep.
Oh, I see where that's coming
So,
through. Okay.
as I said,
So this would be the only town road.
we're here to
This is Ponderosa.
poll the board and see if what kind of feeling we can get about considering a rezone on this property to
Right here, right?
RSP2.
Your house.
Sorry.
It'd be like over here.
And there's public sewer and public water, of course.
Is there any zone for consideration that wouldn't just be seniors that you would fit under?
Well, there's RSP3. We could go RSP3.
And that's not age restricted?
That's not age restricted.
Okay.
Right. So it's similar in many fashions. The setbacks are similar.
What's the difference?
The difference would be preference if the board would prefer something that is more suited towards a senior community.
Or no?
Um,
So it's usage.
Right, so where an RSP3 would not be, the setback requirements off the property lines are the same as RSP3, but the separation requirements between buildings is a little greater on the RSP3 versus the RSP2. So we require greater separation. We would have to, that would definitely affect our density.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I bring up that other option is because knowing that neighborhood, because I don't believe you don't have any other RSP zones there, right? Ponderosa.
There are no RSP zones in that area.
Yeah, they're all just straight multifamily.
Right. The only thing we're kind of really coasting on is the fact that it's a similar or mimics what's going on next door in Ponderosa Estates.
Yep. Right, but Ponderosa. I'm sorry, sir, Councilor, but Ponderosa is not age restricted. I just want to be clear on that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So even if you went RSP3, one, A, how would it affect your density, if you could ballpark that, and B, there's nothing to preclude, seniors or anything from going into
That's correct. It would not. I would say.
Cater to more people is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it would.
I couldn't make a guess as to how it would affect the density, but I think it would at least cut it down by a third. Would be my guess. Just off the bat because of the separation requirements between the buildings. We could always ask for a variance.
Yeah, right.
A
If that
third
were the case?
on the homes, a
No,
third on the townhouses, or a third on everything?
So the townhouse
Townhouses.
buildings in the RSP3 require greater separation distance, like I think 90 feet when buildings are facing each other. I think it's a 90-foot separation and 50 feet between buildings. And there's other requirements, and frankly, the floor area ratio in the RSP3 isn't really flattering, and it doesn't give you the ability to have the size units that the RSP2 would have. I mean, that's a discussion that John Taggart and I have had before, but that really needs to be tweaked and looked at, but that's another story. So the RSP3 and the RSP3, it's a density based on units per acre, right? So it's from 10 to 12 units per acre is the density in the RSP3, but as you get up, the floor area ratio goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So the
So
size,
you get less.
you get less space in the units.
Yeah.
Right?
Which would make a great starter home for a young couple that wants to move to Yorktown,
It could.
right?
It could.
If it was not, under an RSP3, because it wouldn't be age restricted.
Either way, something, for people looking to downsize.
Right.
And we have a lot of both.
Yeah, I know.
Town board.
So that would be a third less, basically, that you could build there. So
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
If we went to RSP3 and we were to ask for a variance, so we would stick to the separation requirements between buildings, we'd probably cut it down by a third.
I'd like to hear from John.
Yeah, John.
personally.
JT?
Welcome back. It's been a while. Listen, if
Watch
you
the
break
mouse.
it, you buy it. Watch that mouse running off that table.
Runs away.
Good catch, Joe.
Looks like he's done that before.
I can't put my hands up here.
Yeah, don't touch it. I'm joking.
Yeah, RSP3, just so you understand, is written to be a continuum of care. So it has nursing homes,
Yeah, that's
assisted living.
yeah.
It's field home.
Yeah. No, that's not what we're
with the
going for.
With the sea view, the nursing care. That's what it's written for.
Yeah, right.
I didn't mean to say RSP3. I meant to say R3.
R3. R3. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
R3 is regular multifamily.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were talking
We
about.
all know what that is.
Okay. So we're all on the same page. So
Sorry.
so the choices, it sounds like, are RSP2 or an R3.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Not okay.
There's no SP in that.
Yeah. Okay. John, any other thoughts on
Or any
on?
peaches or pits on like.
Do you have the lottery numbers for tomorrow?
I do, but I won't be around.
Well, what are the
tomorrow,
peach and pits for both? Like.
Well, I mean, the pits is always, the density, obviously, and where it's located. That's where you have to, think about the neighbors, the character of the neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's why I do like the fact that it has the single-family homes also.
Kind of seems to fit right in, I think.
It fits right in terms of the style of the buildings. The density is not fitting. What you don't see here is that the neighborhood that it is close to, Ponderosa, is it Ponderosa?
Ponderosa, yeah.
Ponderosa is a cluster subdivision, so the density is born out of what is allowed in the single-family zone of which that is in, and
This
then there's a
jumps it.
clustering authorization. So somewhere there is a lot of open space.
What about
that was-
Brattle Ridge, which is also in the same area?
Same thing.
It was flat. It was
cluster.
Cluster. Excuse me, cluster.
So that's how those have come to be. So this would be something that you would be introducing different than the neighborhood. So that's where you're.
And if we
you'll
want to do
find your-
clustering here, what would that produce?
Well, it's about 12 acres.
It's 12 acres, and we would lose the buffer and wetland.
Yeah.
Which looks like it's about.
So you're talking about less than 24 easily. Typically, without any environmental concerns, you get we average somewhere around a little more than half of what you would expect. And so in other words, if you have 12 acres, it's a half-acre zone. You do the math there. It's 24. Take about 55-60% of that, and that's the average of what you see in terms of density by the time you do the roads and do have some environmental concerns. So
you're down to like 12.
yeah, I think you're talking that you would see something like 14 or 16 typically. That's what it would yield, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So in the Pondo,
So the question I have for you, John, was that done under the flexibility,
Ponderosa?
under cluster, using
Well-
the cluster formula, or the flexibility standards?
I'd have to check that. Yeah, I'd have to check that.
so if I'm looking at the front of the property, you guys are proposing 9 houses, right? And right next door, you have 9 houses. So it's kind of like in line with what's there.
Right. I think it makes
The back-
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, except
That makes sense.
right,
Except
but
what?
Townhouse part.
the properties that it's close to are 20,000 square feet or over. These are 15. So you're going to have to do probably a rezone for the back and probably a flexibility for the front.
Yeah. It's not going to fall in the same zoning.
Yeah. Right.
There's no way.
Yeah.
So it all has to have some massaging.
So the back of the property is how much where the townhouses would go?
40. It was what, 46. We said.
46 townhouses on how much property?
44.
How much is that piece, that parcel, just the back part?
I would say that's close to half the property, yeah.
Right, well, how big is that?
So 6
That would
acres.
be
6.5 acres.
Yeah,
And the Ponderosa is how many acres?
I don't know.
John,
I mean, I don't know off
approximately?
the top of my head. I'd have to pull out the plat and give you guys a little crib sheet.
But it's bigger.
Yes.
Okay, so the R3 and then the RSP2, the only difference is in the size of the density,
And
like
age
how much you could
restriction.
build.
And an age restriction.
And the age.
Oh yeah, the RSP2 is
RSP2 is an
for-
age restriction.
and that's something I guess we can talk about. But like I'm just saying, like building wise, not who could apply for it. It doesn't change too much. It's like a slight change.
Between the two.
Yeah.
Small enough that it's going to
The
reduce the number
buildings
of
in
units.
terms of the style of the buildings?
Or just like the amount that you're going to be able to
Well,
build.
the amount would be different. The R3
Uh-huh.
it's multifamily, but it's really not that generous. I mean, it's 12 units per acre. That's less typically. Your wetlands and things. So that's the yield. It's not really generous.
So it would shrink the project essentially.
It would probably shrink this project.
Okay, that's what I'm just going to make sure. Okay.
John, just a question. Why couldn't, if it was zoned either RSP2 or RSP3, why wouldn't that just cover the whole site, and then included in that would be a subdivision?
Okay. If the single family are going to be age restricted, then the RSP2, yes, you're right.
You're saying because it's two different zoning, so we could almost do like one half could be R3 and the other half could be.
Yeah, no, what I'm suggesting is the whole thing could be RSP2, and just the front portion would be single families versus subdivided lots versus.
But age restricted.
But age restricted.
The whole property would be age restricted.
Right, if we did RSP2.
Right.
I guess so you can't do it that way. Then you can't actually zone it totally separate. Like I couldn't do the front half.
you could. They
or the
could. They could.
So I could do the single families as R3, and then it would just depend. No, just R3, and then RSP2 would be the townhouses. Let's say.
Well, yeah, the single family you would leave as R120.
Right.
But you would authorize flexibility on it so they can do these lot sizes.
RSP2 in the back.
And then RSP2 in the back. That's one way to do this. But then at the front would be open to any age as buyers, which
Yeah.
may be more.
Attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay.
And then on the
Age 55 and over may not be less interested in single-family homes.
The front would be what, John?
R120.
R120.
Yes, they are.
So, Joe, with this clustering that I'm seeing in the back here, if you're doing age restricted, is there enough room to keep these pretty much as single level, or would they be dual level with, built with a downstairs?
I mean, it's conceptual. This is really conceptual, but I mean, it could be a mix. So like what we did in the Wyant, we had a mix of 2 stories and flats.
Right.
Right. You could do the same thing here.
I think it's from the feedback I've gotten from our seniors. I think in the back, it's important to.
This is Ponderosa.
It's important to to make sure that even if it's a dual level, that someone could live on. All the living space needed is on the first floor.
Right. So you could put a master suite on the first floor. And
Right.
absolutely. You could.
Okay.
Sure.
And there's enough room for that layout the way you're
Right. There's nothing prohibiting
conceptually
that.
looking at it.
I mean,
We're talking
of course, the units have to be designed.
Right.
We're just showing these blocks because
Okay,
they're
yeah.
similar to the,
12.
to the
Okay.
ones that.
I thought
No, I
it was the
realize it's really conceptual, but I just want to
the
make
front
sure
part.
that that's
Absolutely. That-
6.
A little less.
right. Thank
I
you.
mean, if it were RSP2, I would highly recommend that would be the case.
Yeah.
Just for the board's information, Dan Ciarcia pulled this for us. Ponderosa Estates is listed as 11.75 acres.
So it's a little smaller than this. It's approximately.
Yep.
How many units
How
was
many
it, Matt?
units?
So this is 12, quella de 11.
Yeah, but the back part's only 6, so where you would have the kind of, high density. I think.
Well, in total, it's actually 29 acres if you include the road and the open space dedication.
Wow.
Right. So
So much larger.
it's double, a little more than double the size.
Yep.
How many units, Matt?
Did it make it any smaller?
I don't know.
It says 44 up there.
No, I think he means for Ponderosa.
Or is
No,
it
in
14?
here.
Yeah, right there. 44.
We probably have to just count them
Ma
quickly.
quello non è Ponderosa.
It's not crazy,
Oh, che le sotto.
Where does it say the...
Oh, io
Unit
pensavo
number.
che quello era tutt'uno.
It doesn't. Yeah, I see. But there's the Joe on your plan up here does it have a count to Ponderosa?
It says 44.
It kind of cuts it off. It doesn't have the whole development in there. It just
Yeah, but
has-
No, 44 è quello che fa lui.
does it say Luciana thinks she sees 44? I can't see.
No. 44 I think is
No,
their
44.
town.
Oh, okay,
Ours is
okay.
44.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joe was just squinting at his computer there before. You think he's going to see this? He isn't going to zoom on that.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
Could we make it any smaller?
Thanks,
there,
Dan.
an eye test.
You can make it smaller.
It's an eye exam, guys.
What am I reading?
There you go. He's going to take a picture of it and explode it.
We'll get that on the phone.
Did it say how many?
I don't know what that table says right there.
Now he's lighting it up. Yeah, one lightning up.
He's going to expand it so you can see.
Now I don't feel that bad with
Who's
my
that
vision.
September is
Or
that
lack of.
exciting?
This is exciting stuff.
It doesn't say, right?
What happened, Jay?
I don't see where it's.
Okay, good. Thanks.
We can move on from that. Don't
Dan, did it say how many units were on there? You want to?
Yeah,
See
sure.
if you can find it. I don't see it on there though. I don't see a unit count. Oh, he's actually counting.
Roughly 40.
Roughly 40.
Approximately 40 units in double the size of the land, right?
Well, they have people to have.
Did you guys hear that?
This is open.
They're saying
Yeah.
approximately 40.
40, yeah, all that open.
JT, is that
But like you said, it's different. 'cause it's
Seward
not so
and
tight 'cause they have all that open
that's
space.
water, of course, but is it Seward there?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so
Matt, you need to learn Italian.
so that looks like it's maybe.
You need to learn German. Now, how about that?
I will if you.
Yeah, easy there.
I took German.
Careful.
Grad school.
Mr. Grace will translate all that.
You could speak German?
I don't speak it. I had to read stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Philosophy stuff.
Che dobbiamo fare? Matt, do we have any other questions for JT? I'm good with JT.
I mean, I'm curious what your clients think after the conversation. Do you have a preference? What are your thoughts on what you're hearing?
Just step to the mic first, please.
Yeah, just so you know, if you go in for age
These guys get
restriction, it's
heated.
age restriction.
John
because
Rubino.
it'll
Thanks, Sean.
affect everything.
I just look
Hi,
at
John.
it as visually what I see as a builder, a carpenter for 40 years, and developer. What does it look like? If there's an adjacent piece of property that was similarly subdivided years ago, as the Ponderosa was, the great amount of open space, I agree with, but it's when you drive into a neighborhood, you really may not see that open space. You're looking
Right.
at what's next door to you. So that's what we're trying to achieve is sort of mirroring what's adjacent to us. That's only my thoughts on it.
Do you have any
Do you have a
thoughts
preference?
on the RSP2 or the R3? Do you have a preference?
I'm sort of tossed with that because, as Mr. Esposito said, you have there's a need on both ends, and if you're going to try to satisfy just one, it's really not fair to the other. So, I mean, if there was a way to
Do both, yeah.
to do some of both, I think would be better.
Well, thanks for your flexibility and your honesty.
Trying to
We
be
appreciate that.
Yeah.
What's the square footage on the single families, approximately?
15.
Those that we're showing there?
Yeah.
15.
They're like 30 by 50s, 50, like 1,500.
1,500.
Yeah.
They're good. Like,
That's a nice little house.
I thought mine was going to be a
Yeah,
starter home,
that's-
and we're staying. So,
Yeah.
That's the footprint. So probably, more like a 2,400, 2,500
Mm-hmm.
square foot house.
Right.
You go, two-story colonial style, center hall colonial.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a new home right now in Mayapack, and I did one of Somers last year. I designed the house. It's a upgraded bi-level actually,
oh, nice.
which makes it it's almost divided in 3 sections. The center is open space because the concept's open space now.
Mm-hmm.
It has a master suite on one side, and the other 2 bedrooms are on the opposite side. And you have your conventional split foyer, and you go downstairs to another big great room. And it's about 2,800 square feet. It's very popular. I'm getting a lot of people that really like it. Other builders want to copy it. So it's in that, what Joe says, at 25, you make it 28, 24.
But I can kind of relate to that because my house is smaller, but it's an open space concept.
space
So my
concept.
kitchen bleeds into my deck or into my family room and
Right.
into my living room. And when my husband and I went to go look for bigger homes, the pocket doors and the pocket rooms just didn't cater to that. So I understand what he means by the open space. And then at that point, it could accommodate, like you were saying, you could turn a first floor into a bedroom. It could accommodate diversity.
And it makes the house appear to be a lot bigger than it is when you have the open concept.
My kids make it small, but
Oh,
it's okay.
okay.
So on the townhouses, what's the general size for them?
Around 2,000.
I think they range from 1,500 to 2,000, something like that. But you know,
It's a great place to start.
Yeah, they're not really designed at this point, but I mean that's.
No, I know. I'm not
That's
holding
the
you to
idea.
it. I'm just trying to get an idea, but
I
you know.
believe the Meadows are in that range
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
It's-
the
it's
Meadowwoods,
very
yeah.
Similar to the Meadows.
R3.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's R3.
I think it'd be an easier to sell them too.
What do you think?
Yeah, you know, it could go either way. That having the availability for the seniors, you know, I think there is a demand, but will that demand be overfilled? So
I just
R3
know-
gives a lot of flexibility, and
I just know the neighborhood because I live on the next
Other
neighborhood
side,
over.
yeah.
There's no age restricted housing over there.
right. And for age restriction, you want to be closer to the town. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
so-
I don't
I
think
like
it's
the
really.
R3.
I think the R3 makes the most sense.
That's the biggest thing with.
And to make some of them senior accessible
Yes, they
if
could
they
still
wanted
buy
to.
them.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the phrase that we keep hearing? Senior friendly.
Senior friendly.
Is that the phrase that
Or
gets tossed
senior
around? now?
accessible.
So
Senior friendly homes. But that would cut that
Ah.
that cluster in there, the townhomes down. You said about
Probably at least a third.
About a third.
Unless you get a variance.
Yeah, unless we get a variance.
So why don't we? I think the feeling is R3 seems to be the right
right field.
fit and right
yeah,
feel.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay. So if you want to put, form an application and submit it to the clerk.
And then John will tell all of our friends.
All right, good.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Thank
Very
you
good.
much.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you all.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Mr. Grace. Joe, don't go anywhere.
I'm not.
Hold on to that mouse.
Don't move, Joe.
No, we don't need this now for this.
You don't
one.
need
You
the
sure?
mouse for my
You're not going to
computer.
do a presentation on this one either?
Well, I have no really presentation, but I do have. If you want to see the Gardena.
Why don't you refresh everyone's memory real quick
Okay.
on the Gardena?
Okay.
Were there any updated renderings on this that we may see?
I think there are. Let's see what we got.
Ooh, let's see him.
We need JT for this one too.
While he
Yeah,
finds
John.
us under the restroom.
Just take a front row seat.
So
He likes to hide in the back after a while. He leaves us.
My phone still isn't done, just for the record.
You picked the wrong IT guy.
Jenna's still sitting. Jenna just went up
Little
because
plug.
they close at 9.
They close at 9.
Yeah, I told her they're not allowed to close if they still have a phone.
When I got my new Apple phone, it was down for like a
So
month.
it must have.
1 o'clock.
You must have some serious pictures and stuff on there, and like
No,
videos.
apparently she got it and she was walking out and the old phone started ringing, but it doesn't make sense because she got the new phone. I don't know.
okay, so the site's at the corner of Veterans and Commerce, right? There's a yellow residential-looking structure on the property now. It's a third of an acre. It's zoned C2R. The idea here is to put a 3-story hotel. The first floor would be lobby space, breakfast area, so on and so forth, lounge and whatnot.
Yep.
The upper 2 floors would be the proposed rooms. I think we're
What did we say? Was it 22 when you originally came?
no, I think we're at 18 now.
18 now? Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm.
think so. I think we're at we're at 16, right? 16 now.
16 rooms.
16 rooms,
Okay.
and
Hence why it's called boutique, right? Isn't like the industry
Is that a word for
standard?
small?
yeah.
It's like anything under 20 something.
Yeah.
It becomes a boutique hotel.
Mm. As long as they have nice bathrooms with big tubs.
And the
What was that?
Nice bathrooms with big
and
tubs.
one of the,
Can't
one
go to
of
the
the,
hotel with a bubble bath.
one of the big features to it is the rooftop amenity, which is going
Oh,
to be
fun.
a tapas bar and open roof deck, right?
Tapas, right?
Yeah, or whatever you want to call it, appetizers.
Just wanted to make sure it wasn't the other word.
Right.
Tapas.
Tapas.
Not-
shared dishes.
So this is one of the renderings. So this would be this would be kind of looking from the parking lot from the cultural center or the gazebo from that direction. This is the main entrance right here.
The main entrance would be facing the gazebo.
That's funny.
It would be facing the cultural center.
Yep, on the corner.
It's on the corner.
To the left here is the parking lot. Then you have some underground parking. These are the 2 floors where you have the rooms, and you get to the top floor. Part of it is an enclosed bar. The bar is enclosed, and there'll be some seating on the inside for the off-season. But then this side of it would be able to be opened up to the
Outdoor
rooftop deck. We have a clock tower feature here on this side.
What's
give it
under
some-
the clock tower?
What's that?
What's under the clock tower? Is that new?
That's going to be
That
like
open
more
space?
seating.
More
or-
seating?
More outdoor space.
Yeah, that's just all out.
Okay.
And let's see what else I have here.
Where's the
The
equipment,
outdoor
Joe?
space
Up on
only
the
on one
opposite
side?
roof?
Also the yeah, and like John was just mentioned, that's also the stairwell. That
So Joe, is the outdoor seating
Picture
only on
different.
that one side?
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
This side of the building is just going to
For
be
mechanics and stuff?
mechanical space.
Hey, Joe, can I ask you a question? Are they going to make Cosmos there?
Yes,
Okay, great.
Oh my
Whatever you want.
gosh.
I
Serge.
vote yes.
whatever you
Serge.
want. So and like so you could see there's like a glass rail around, a solid glass rail around, and then there's going to be like stand up bar
Oh, stools.
stools and bar space around that, and there'll be I don't have that stuff with me, but there'll be booth seating out there. There'll be some like fire pits, and it's just going to be a place for
A
people
lounge.
to lounge, and people hopefully in our age group to have a place to go and socialize, right?
So I love that. So there's seating in that little house area too, right? So
Right, and that's part of the seasonal aspect of it. No.
So the restaurant's upstairs too, or there's restaurants
Well,
downstairs?
it's just no. There's in the lower level. It's more going to be,
Down inside.
breakfast and whatnot. There'll be a cafe. More or less, it's going to be a cafe
In the
down
face Commerce Street, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be right on Commerce.
there. On the upper, here's another view. Similar to the last view we looked at, and
Do you know if it'll have like conference rooms and stuff like that,
there will be on.
just for businesses? I'm
There'll
saying.
be one conference room down on the main level. That's just a note. This is the Commerce View side. That's how. This is what's going to look like.
But that's a
on
benefit
Commerce.
for town too.
So I think what they. Oh, my battery's running low. Jeez. So anyway, what they tried to do, and when it goes, it goes.
I think we see it.
Yeah,
I think
so
we
you,
see
so you
it.
get the idea. So
Yes.
The architects tried to pick up some of the different architectural elements along Commerce Street there. So that's kind of what you have and what you're looking.
Just real quick, Joe, parking lot scheme. Can you flash back on that? Is that some of it's going to be under the building there?
Some of it's under the building.
Okay.
Some
Right,
like
so
alongside.
you have a few spaces right here underneath the building.
Right.
And they project out into the front here, and the rest is all open. We are actually shy, and we lost.
There it goes.
That's okay. We saw
We're
it.
actually shy one space on site, but we feel there's ample parking. You have up and down Veterans. You have all that parking there. You have the community center across the street, and plus there's a lot of commercial.
One space, that's it, you shot?
Yeah.
There was a discussion at one point about veterans.
Yes.
About,
What about it?
Wasn't there a discussion about that we had at one point? That
Yeah, and
about the road?
Right. So John and I went out and took a look at it. I think Dave was not in favor of
Right.
doing that.
Correct.
Right. So we're leaving it as
So you're
it is.
leaving it as is.
Yeah, we're not changing it.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was some. You're right. There was discussion there, parking on Veterans Road,
Why did you smile?
and then. What?
Sorry. No, John was smiling. I didn't
Oh,
know.
there was the talk about parking on Veterans Road and possibly utilizing the Capellini Center.
Yeah, no, that's.
But that's
That's out.
That's
No,
out.
that's not out. That's not out. What we were talking about was moving that curb back.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, and that was a
We're-
no
we're-
because
we're
that's a
still,
tough
far
turn as it
we're-
is.
Yeah, as far as we're concerned, we're still pitching that even though we're short a spot, that anyone coming to use from the outside coming to use the rooftop bar or the cafe or whatever, there's plenty of parking along Veteran, there's plenty of parking across the street, and on adjacent sites, Jack Chow is working with the
Owners of the other
owners
properties?
of the Commerce Building, trying to get an agreement with them
Okay.
to use their parking when they're
Good.
on their off hours.
Mhm.
Good.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's
kinda
great.
That
That's
kind
a
of
good
stalled
idea.
for now because we weren't
Yeah,
doing
all right.
anything. But
And so you're back tonight, and if you want to take us to where
So I just got one more question before you move on. So, you're not going to make that road, that turn lane wider or anything like that?
No.
that's correct. I think Dave was not in favor of us doing that. I don't know if you want to speak to that.
As you know, the throat of the road is very narrow.
Yeah.
Right at the intersection.
Yeah.
But as soon as you move into Veterans Road, it really widens. So my initial discussion with Joe was, in an effort to get a sidewalk in there, maybe we can move out the curb line into the road, not up where it's very
Tight.
thin, tight, but back further where it's wider than normal. So I think that's a discussion to just make sure that Dave is fully in the know on. I completely agree with him that we shouldn't neck down where it's already just,
Neck down already.
In fact, maybe we need to look at giving a couple extra feet there, and I think
widening
I think 2 feet or something would be
it makes
you
sense.
know a big improvement. But
Yep.
as soon as you move into that road, it's very wide when it's
Yeah,
starts
it's
to turn
it's
around.
that it's the turn.
It's the turn.
It's the turn,
Right.
and it just widens up there.
I know
That was
it's
my
a tough
point.
one for the fire department too. If
Right, if you recall, John, the reason we were having that discussion was to save the trees that are there now, because there's a row of mature trees
Right.
there. So, in order to get a sidewalk in there without affecting those trees,
All right.
that's why we were talking about. Let's move the curb out, leave the trees where they are, and get the sidewalk between the curb and the
Gotcha.
trees.
So bring us to where we are tonight.
So, you authorized the boutique hotel use in your new overlay district, but neglected to set standards for that use. So we took it upon ourselves to draft those standards, and those standards basically are to accommodate this project. So we gave you draft language, which we hope that you will be able to incorporate in local law form and set it for a public hearing at your next public hearing.
Got it, but I don't have it with me.
Kind of interesting. This actually brings up the point. I listened with great curiosity as to your last agenda item, and I think that you have to all be reminded you are the town board, and as the town board, you can change things. So I think on the last project that was in front of you, rather than always try to fit this square peg in a round hole based upon what is the textual language of the current code, you may want to consider changing the textual code in order to fit, and it's actually something that should always be done because, again, we've had this discussion before, this code's 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
And your RSPs and your R3s, and you really have to start taking a look at what are the present current needs, not only of the town but regionally. And I think that you do have certain opportunities, like the last application that was in front of you. Don't pay some homage to the code, but understand you have great flexibility, and as a town board, you can change everything. So, and that brings me to this. We have proposed language. This language will actually accommodate the project that's in front of you. Some of the things that are anomalous to the existing code would be maximum building height. I think we were at 35 feet in town. This actually is looking for a 55-foot height, so we've included that. We have setbacks, which are kind of consistent with a lot of your underlying commercial zoning districts with setbacks. You do have some 0-foot setbacks in the commercial districts, even across the street. Wall houses, I think, is an example of that. So we have included that as well. But these are based upon your overlay district. The planning board has a lot of leeway even with these if you were to adopt them. We're really asking you to do it, and there are I think the planning board was very impressed with this project. It was actually fawning over it. I never, you know, there was nothing but lust for it. I think that, you know, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon.
Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of urgency in trying to get this moved ahead. So we would like you just to schedule the public hearing on these proposed.
Can I just ask a few questions?
Yeah.
So, total number of rooms, is there a reason 25 is the number? When you have
Basically
16?
because the boutique hotel, that's kind of the standard for a boutique hotel. Once
So
you
it's
get past that, you're really
anything
looking
less
at
than
a-
25 is
yeah, you're
bou-
looking
is
at
boutique.
a much bigger project.
Right, but anything less than 25 is considered boutique.
Yeah, yes.
25 and less.
25 is the industry standard.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then, is there a reason for the 15-night maximum stay?
Yeah, because you can't. They'll use it as a condo, if I'm not mistaken. You can't have it more than 15 nights.
No. I'm saying why is the cap at 15?
Cap of 15. Oh,
Of 15
because
nights.
otherwise you're going to have transient or long-term
But
housing.
why wouldn't you lower it?
Well, you know, 15's 2 weeks. I mean, somebody comes to Yorktown and they have a nice time. They might want to stay here for 2 weeks.
Or they're in New York. So
You know what? Quite frankly, you'd be very difficult to police it. So the thing is, and it's
It's a good
you know,
point.
So what you're doing is most of that kind of a standard is basically a prompt to keep the operation as a hotel rather than long-term transient housing.
How would that work? Is that something that if someone was in violation of the 15 nights, would that be a building inspector enforcement issue?
Absolutely honest with you,
I'm just curious.
For the zoning code to get into the operational aspects of a business, probably you can't go there.
May I comment on that?
It's more just setting the tone, and hopefully that
Yes.
the proprietor follows.
So I used to do offering plans for hotel and condos in the city, and the reason why they would do that, they would actually have a 2-week stay, and they would even ask, and this is obviously up to the boutique hotel to do it, they would ask them for their return ticket or the date on it, because if after a certain number of days, it's really hard to get them out.
Yeah,
Or,
right.
like,
Well, that's why I just don't know why
So
we're doing
for-
15 and not like 7.
So for some reason, I don't know if Michael knew that, but there's always been a 2-week. Because if you come to like the States, right, and you
Yep.
stay here, and you're going to travel to New York, and you're going to
Yeah, if you're coming from overseas, I
Yeah,
understand.
exactly.
Yeah,
You would stay
yeah.
for 2 weeks, and
Right.
so I'm just saying, like that's like the minimum. Someone's trip is the normal is.
I just was curious.
Anywhere from a week to 3 weeks, so you're in the middle.
Again, you go back to enforcement. So to kind of investigate the operational aspects of a hotel is very difficult.
Yeah.
But the idea is if all of a sudden you find out that somebody's basically having a long-term living arrangement at this, you don't want it to turn into sort of transient long-term housing.
You gotta cap it.
So
No, and I'm not
so
against
I
capping.
was wondering why.
I was actually trying to cap it
lower.
lesser. I was going to do
Yeah,
less.
I wouldn't do less.
So this way you can basically say, hey, wait a second, this car has been here, and this people have been here. So
That's
then
fine.
you can,
I get it.
Because again, to prosecute something like that, it's very difficult.
And then my only other question is number 7, that they're restricted to the business overlay districts only. So this would allow for, is this specific for the Heights? Or would it?
It's only in your overlay districts because that's the only place in the code that you've allowed it.
For the
at this
Heights.
point.
I just want to make, because it says overlay districts, plural.
Yeah.
Well,
You
I guess if they want to
know
build a
what- you know
second
what
one?
it-
But I just want to make sure we're clear. Is it just the Heights?
No, at this point. And the thing is, that you have no application.
It's
before.
just the Heights.
In the overlay district, it allows boutique hotels, and I should step up.
Please step to the mic. I
Yes,
just want to make
please,
sure we're
before you
clear
get
on
yelled
it.
at.
Thank you, Tom. In the overlay district, it allows boutique hotels. So boutique hotels are allowed in the Yorktown Heights overlay district. Oh, that's it.
Only.
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 Okay.
I don't even believe that you actually need that because it's already in there.
But if
So-
we have
We're
an over-
reiterating
But
it.
if we add another overlay district hypothetically somewhere else.
A boutique hotel could go there.
For instance, it's not in the Jefferson Valley one, but at some point I think you may want to think to add it there. And then if you add it in that section, it will be allowed. The regulation
Then this would
to
apply.
control what is built is here.
So it's forward thinking.
The allowable use is in that.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure we were clear, and the board and the public were clear, because it's only in the Heights.
George Roberta's property up in.
Right.
Yeah, like I say, which would be excellent for that. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
it would be a beautiful spot for it.
Right, but I just wanted to make sure we're clear. The board's clear and the public's clear that right now, the way that the law reads, it's only allowed in the Heights.
Yeah, again, you guys
And
if you
then
don't
we
like
can change
it,
it.
2
You
You can
months from
change
now,
it.
you
No,
can change
no, I understand.
just
Mr.
wanna be
Grace,
clear.
I understand it. I just want to be clear because it does say
It's only allowed in the heights.
business
because-
overlay districts plural, but it's only currently under the law allowed in the heights.
Well,
So that was my
we
only.
we only have
district
one
law.
overlay district we approved.
No, we
Oh,
include
did
Osceola
we did
and-
approve
Yeah.
Osceola already? Okay.
Yes.
And then the only thing I kind of left up in the air was the
Nothing
signage
yet.
requirements.
Nothing.
Right.
And
I'm sorry, what was that, Mr. Grace?
the only thing I left unresolved in the law was the signage.
But
And
that will come.
I think, you know what, I think, you know, in that regard, I caution against putting those standards in the regulation, because if you look at the building and the project that's in front of you, I think there's a lot of sensitivity to the architecture and its appearance. And I think that and somebody that's going to make that a substantial investment, I think is going to come forward with what they think is best, and probably why
Most suitable.
Why try to cram them into some arbitrary requirements just so we have something in the code. But you may be able to just leave that up to the discretion of the planning board. And I think that's probably the best way to approach it.
Probably the planning board and ABACA, they always
Yeah,
work.
that's the other thing. I think
because-
Abaca's working on trying to formalize our signs
Yeah,
in
well,
town.
signage is always a difficult thing, because
Yeah.
it's always, I think if you have decent, reasonable people with a good vision of what they, and they want to present their business in the best light possible, you're gonna leave it up to them, and they're always gonna come up with the best,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's not all cookie cutter.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
But
in the
that's why I
signage
left
part.
that kind
Yeah,
of-
no, it makes sense.
Everyone puts their different tie on.
John, thoughts on the signage aspect? I think we just need to tighten that up.
Yeah, I agree in principle. I envision this as something that has to have some high quality.
Yeah, right.
Or else boutique doesn't work, and I think that's part of the definition of boutique in my view. So, you know, I would say that you're not looking at signs that scream out, you know, I'm here. You're looking for signs that really enhance the architecture and the quality.
Subtleties?
So subtleties are
You
is
like
a good
that?
word. Yeah. So.
See what happens when you step out there?
That's right.
Come
Nice.
back.
I come back in with with an air of distinction.
So I think the sign ordinance manual recommendations are probably a good start, but I would say that
Let them come forth, I would say.
let them come forth, but I wouldn't. I would be careful about the sizing of the sign. You know, this is filling up the site, and you wouldn't want the sign to really be overpowering anyway. You really want it to be complementary.
It shouldn't have like neon lights like the motel.
Yeah,
signs.
right.
You know, it's funny, do you actually need a sign on a diner?
No.
Anybody? No, because it's
You know it's a
building that tells
diner.
you what
And
it is.
because they buy all of their railings from the same exact place.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying is that the building's going to identify itself. But you sound like the Kaguya Sentai there, Thomas.
What's that?
No, never mind.
All right, so we're going to have our town attorney put this into local law format so that we can refer it out and set the public hearing.
Great. I'm
Excellent.
okay with that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I stress the urgency on this, because I think there's some, you know, if it's going to get done at all, it's going to have to get done very quickly, and that's just at the applicant's own issues as far as financing the project and getting it off the ground. So if the town wants to see it, I urge you to do it expeditiously.
That's a nice way of saying,
Not
like,
able
take
to
your time, hurry up.
tonight,
Like,
right? You
Don't
know,
take
local law.
don't take your
Exactly.
time. We're just
My brother always says that. He's like, take your time, but hurry up. I'm like,
Very nice way of putting it, though.
Yeah, I know. All right, thank you,
Good
Mr.
night.
Green. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Grace.
Thanks, Joe.
Appreciate
Moving
that.
on.
All right. Last but not least, I'll turn it over to Councilman Lachterman regarding veterans parking at town buildings.
Sure. So when talking with the Veterans Advisory Committee, it was brought to my attention that the veterans appreciate those that have been wounded in combat with the Purple Heart veterans,
Yep.
but have also said that there are veterans who have served that have limitations, physical limitations, and even some that have injuries and illnesses that have not necessarily been recognized as being Purple Heart worthy. And as we do appreciate the service of all of our veterans, you know, I'm recommending.
Good job. Yeah, you did.
What the hell was that? He said.
I'm recommending that we that wherever we have in our town buildings the Purple Heart signs and parking spot, that we also Diana, do you mind that we add a veterans reserved parking spot as well? I did look online. There are veteran signs available, high quality aluminum, reflective, about $40 each.
Do we know what they look like?
They basically have an American flag, says spot reserved for veterans, and
So it would be a second spot?
it would be an additional spot.
And is it veterans or veterans?
Veterans.
No, just a question.
And,
Veterans.
and so, do we have a Purple Heart a Purple Heart parking spot at every?
I know we have at Town Hall. We have at the Cappellini Center. We have at the library. Do we have at PD?
What about at our parks? Do we have it at Granite Knolls?
I don't think we do at Granite Knolls.
We should probably add it.
Or
So
Legacy.
we should add. We should make sure that we're adding it to Granite Knolls, Legacy.
We should have
Down.
Purple
Downing.
Heart signs state, I believe.
Downing might have a Purple Heart.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Right when you pull in there?
No.
I thought we put a 4, and I can't remember where the 4th one.
I mean, listen, it's a no-brainer.
Cappellini building?
Whenever you go over to I love going to Lowe's. Because and when you pull into Lowe's, they have that designated veterans.
And actually,
parking sign.
that's pretty much the same sign
Yeah.
that it would be.
No, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's great. Let's do it.
All right. So then, can you get us the design of the signs or what the sign looks like?
Absolutely.
And then we should work with the Parks Commission and the Parks Department to make sure that we have both the Purple Heart and designated veterans signage, parking signage at those 3 facilities at the very least. But yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Is it for veterans that are less mobile?
No, it's for any veteran.
It's for any veteran.
Yeah,
Any veteran.
it's just an honor.
Okay.
Just to recognize their service.
Yep. Okay.
I think it's a great gesture by the town and a great idea by our Veterans Council and Councilman Lachterman. Thank you for bringing it forward.
Perfect.
Pleasure.
Okay.
We don't want any veterans fighting over the spot out there.
See, it's veterans. He said veterans.
Veterans.
Okay, we're going to go on to resolutions. Authorize the retainage release for the Greenwood Street Culvert Repair Project. We will authorize a budget transfer for the Shrub Oak Lake Estates Park District out of their fund balance, $25,000, and this will be for maintenance and repair. And this specifically is for rehabbing the roof, siding, and staircase to a building located at Soul Beach. Great fishing, by the way, over there. Great fishing. We'll authorize the comptroller to process a budget transfer out of the fund balance to cover the initial payments, the initial invoices for the town hall entrance remediation and renovation. Those are lined out on our agenda. And we will authorize the town supervisor, the town attorney, and the comptroller to sign a municipal facilities program grant. I see we have Ken Belfer here, and we are very, very excited to share the news that Senator Harcum has once again secured a $100,000 grant for Mohegan Lake. And this will make incredible improvements to Mohegan Lake by upgrading their aeration system. So we're very, very excited about this. And we appreciate the Senator's continued work and partnership and advocacy on behalf of the town of Yorktown. So we'll take a motion for all those. Oh, I'm sorry. There was
Second.
one.
Did you have
excuse
one?
Me. There was one more. And we're going to authorize the comptroller to process a budget transfer for the Parks Department. This is going to be from the TE line Parkland Trust for $55,000. It will be going to the A71110454, the Parks Improvement Line, and this is for the construction of the Railroad Park basketball court.
Oh, great.
So moved.
So we'll take them all together. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motions carry. And with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good night, Yorktown.
Happy
Thank you.
holiday, everybody.